Perception is our view of the world and ourselves through our beliefs. The short term fix that will bring about happiness is to change our perception of circumstances that seem unpleasant. The long term fix is to begin the work of aligning our thoughts and beliefs with all we want the future to hold so that we can change those circumstances. Both are viable options. But because we've already talked at length about how to affect change in the future by working with our thoughts and beliefs, this chapter will be more about our emotions in the present, or better still, our perception of the circumstances that now surround us. In the eye of the beholder, perception is our view of the world and ourselves through our beliefs. I'll give you a personal example. When my brother, mother, and I first started TUT Totally Unique t shirts, the business that preceded my writing and speaking career, it was really going slow. It was really slow going. World headquarters was crammed into my tiny Orlando apartment, and I remember one beautiful workday in the spring of that year when I decided to give myself a little break. I went to my apartment's community swimming pool to relax and soak up the sun. Up until that time, I'd worked for PW, so I thought I could now enjoy some of the slow time that you sometimes encounter when starting a new business. Unfortunately, my beliefs about working hard, sacrificing, and struggling as necessary hardships for starting my own business left me feeling incredibly guilty, lazy, and unhappy. My morning by the pool was pretty miserable. The emotion of happiness, which is what we're all really after, is a product of our perception. Like all our emotions and our perceptions are a product of our beliefs. Had I thought to change my perception that morning, I could have seen my time spent by the pool as evidence that I was on the right path toward making my dreams come true. I could have understood that I did deserve to enjoy life as I pleased. And then, from that perspective, what do you mean? Lay down. I could have understood that I did deserve to enjoy life as I pleased. And then from that perspective, I could have really enjoyed the spring air and the cool water, listening to the birds and fully appreciating the paradise I lived in. But instead, I derided myself for not working harder, and I worried that I was being negligent in my responsibilities. Fortunately, I remember that morning well and have often looked back at the lesson learned because within just 2 short years, TUC began breaking the $1 million mark in annual sales. Looking back, I now realize if on that spring morning I had any idea of just how well our company would soon be doing, and just how effective my efforts were, I'd have I'd have wholeheartedly enjoyed myself. These days, whenever I feel beset with guilt or doubt about what I'm doing or whether I'm working hard enough, I examine my beliefs, change my perception, and think to myself, oh, Mike, if you only knew how well you're going to be doing in the near future, you'd really just relax and enjoy today for all that for all that it already is. So the emotion of happiness, which is what we're all really after, is a product of our perception. Like our emotions and our perceptions are a product of our beliefs. Do you want to change how you see something? Just look at your beliefs. And in instances like this, finding your beliefs is relatively easy because you already have a clear starting point, the unpleasant emotions you're feeling. In this way, emotions, particularly happiness, are not only something to strive toward, but they're also powerful indicators pointing at beliefs that are holding us back from seeing things in a new light. They tell us exactly where our thinking lies and thus where our beliefs lie. And whenever they're unpleasant, they serve as a reminder that our present perception is not based on truth but on misinterpretation of truth. Joy is only a thought away. I was recently reminded of how powerful our beliefs are in forming our perceptions and thus in determining how we feel. When my relationship with the girlfriend ended, it was extremely painful for me during that week, completely with that mild feeling of nausea and the literal pain of a broken heart. But during that week, there were also spells of uncertainty with regard to our dating status, at least in my mind, when all of a sudden perceived that things between us were on the mend. Much to my surprise, during the moments of believing that things were on the mend, my painful emotions and their related physical symptoms completely vanished in a split second. In fact, during those moments, which never lasted more than half a day, I remember wondering how it was even possible that I could have been so absolutely devastated by the breakup. Then, without warning, a new conversation or insight of my own would indicate that the relationship was in fact over and throw me back into black despair. So even during those brief reprieves, while thinking I was again on top of the world, I was still blind to the beliefs that hinged my happiness and self love on another person. This flip flopping happened several times in the week and always with the same observations on my part. If I hadn't experienced this for myself, I don't think I could have easily believed the instantaneous power that my beliefs had on my perception of myself and consequently on the way I felt emotionally. Now, when I'm in a low spell, I think back to that realization and remember that anything unpleasant I'm feeling is based on a poor perception belief of my situation. Knowing how quickly I can begin feeling better, I immediately began thinking more enlightened thoughts that expand the boundaries of my beliefs and perceptions. I started expecting to feel better, and then I do feel better. Just as I witnessed the profound power my beliefs had on my happiness, I realized that our beliefs can do this with any and all our emotions. We're literally only ever just a thought away from allowing ourselves to possess new beliefs that fill us with unspeakable joy, profound happiness, and a complete sense of well being right now. What if today someone came to you, someone like the God most people believe in, and definitely told you that in the immediate future all your dreams would manifest? The psychological and physical changes you would go through are more than you can even comprehend. You'll be elated, confident, relaxed, excited, happy, accepting of the world, and so much more. You'd breeze through the rest of your today no matter what surprises it might hold. Nothing could faze you. You'd be indo, indomitable, indomitable, indo, indomitable, unstoppable, and walking on air. So how about it? Right now, why don't you tell yourself that all your dreams will soon manifest? What would it take? You hold the key. The world is your oyster, and you have been given the freedom to think as you choose and to thereby create whatever you can imagine. Our emotions color our every experience. Without them, what would matter? Nothing. If it weren't for emotions, what would we pursue? What would motivate us? What would we care about? Nothing. Our emotions are rich with rewards and lessons, and the good ones are worth slogging through the bad ones to receive those benefits. Emotions give our lives meaning and reason, and the unpleasant ones serve us by hinting at how we can get back on track with life's truths. They spark our desire for a better life, and they inspire us to take on challenges, not challenges that will squash us, but challenges that will enlighten us. Challenges. It's in our human nature to love challenges, but we know deep down that every challenge is surmountable, that we are special, destined to prevail, that we cannot fail, and that in the end, we'll triumph. Will reign triumph, emotionally fulfilled and wealthier for the wisdom imparted by the emotions that keep us on track. Facing challenges doesn't have to be an unhappy affair, especially when you realize that your challenges are gifts that will bring you greater understanding and a deeper happiness than you can imagine, than you can now imagine. Spiritually speaking, no matter who you are, where you are, or what your issues are, given the infinite numbers of adventures we can choose from, you will always internally end up on top. Besides, how adventurous would life be if we were challenge free? If we all had perfect bodies, perfect self esteem, and lived perfect, cushy little lives? Blah. But what if pain, but what if, painful as they may temporarily be, we could litter the course with obstacles on the sole condition that they could all be overcome? And what if we knew that the playing field held the potential for the realization of our greatest hopes and dreams, and that no single peril we might face would be insurmountable? Pretty cool concept, isn't it? But it's definitely not for every celestial couch potato. Every celestial couch potato, isn't it? This is a concept suited only to adventurers willing to be rocked and taught by their emotions. It's an adventure perfect for you. Eh? Emotions give our lives meaning and reason, and the unpleasant ones serve us by hinting at how we can get back on track with life's truths. The very sway of our emotions reveal a path to a new kind of enlightenment, a gateway of wisdom and peace unknown before time and space wrapped into being. Here your emotions appear as signposts to a promised land, and what feels right and pleasing beckons us further. Meanwhile, emotions that are unpleasant or disconnecting can serve to open our hearts to deeper understanding. Together, your emotions join the choir of your inner voices, speaking to you by way of your feelings and impulses and nudging you onward through your self-made obstacle course of matter and events. People manifest their thoughts. There's little accomplishment there. But as our thoughts propel us through life, so do they send us through a kaleidoscope of emotions, each adding a precious jewel to our crowns of compassion and understanding. That's why it's the journey and not the destination that matters so much in time and space, for it's during the journey that emotions color our experiences. That scared the crap out of me. During the journey that our emotions color our experiences while providing feedback and insight into our beliefs. Our emotions appear as a psychological reaction to the objects and events that we thought to life with an intensity based entirely on our ability to understand these same objects and events. The less understanding we possess, the more discomfort, even pain, we'll feel. The more understanding we possess, the more joy and acceptance we'll feel.